Hello and welcome back to my channel, and thanks for rejoining me with my basic fantasy solo campaign. We return to the catacombs under the village of Wraithfield. The characters are well involved, well ensconced in the dungeon. They have already, if we just have a quick look, a recap on our map, we had descended the stairs, quite a kind of zigzagging corridor, portcullis, a locked door which managed to temporarily repel us. That is the hope. Some interesting developments using my chit mechanic, quite a number of atmospheric effects, sort of rattling chains in corridors. We had quite a lot of skulls in this, the ossuary, and rather dramatic discovery of a skull. It looks as though its head had been shattered by something emerging. Will that be lurking in this dungeon? That is the question. We've now just come upon the threshold of I've got number 4 down, and if I just look at my little description that I have for that one, and just as an aside, while I was having a bit of a think about the game I really enjoyed the session. I thought it was really good fun. I liked how my mechanic worked. I think there was only one thing, well, maybe a couple of things that I didn't really think maybe worked as well as I wanted. And that was really the kind of to get the authentic feel from the characters. And I thought, I was listening to some of their interactions or whatever, and they were talking just really like a lot of my other characters do in my other games. And I thought, well, I could really do with giving them a bit more of a kind of gothic kind of slant to them. So I think when I'm going to start role-playing them, I'm going to try to give them a bit more kind of that kind of sound, sort of the way that their inflection, the way they talk, it kind of like an old world way of speaking. Not exactly Shakespearean, but almost like ye old England type thing, and it's all very dramatic and whatever, or try my best to do that. And to help me out, I've actually got a dungeon, what I call a dungeon dialogue table, temporarily, and I'm just going to use this at opportune times. And I've got like lots of different of my characters listed, and I'll just roll a d20, and they can do a little quote. The nearest thing I've got to this is, if you ever watch my Hero Quest campaign, I have witty quips from monsters and adulations from the characters when they slay the monsters, and I just do a kind of random roll and they say things, and it gives us a bit more kind of flavor to an atmosphere to the game. Well, I'm going to try to introduce something along that kind of line. Okay, so back to the matter at hand, and the next thing I want to maybe just discuss is that we're up to 3 turns. Now, according to Basic Fantasy, we have a Wandering Monster check every 3 turns. So I am going to actually have a Wandering Monster check, and I have my own little table that, surprise, surprise, Brian's got a Wandering Monster table. And I've got a D12 specific Wandering Monster table, the Wraithfield Catacombs, D12, check once every 3 turns. And I'm just going to, on a 1 and a 6, we will get a Wandering Monster. So, as I said, we were on the threshold of this room. I'll just do another quick description of what it's like. And it was number 4, the Crypt of Chains. So, iron rings stud the walls, attached to crumbling manacles. The bones of prisoners lie shackled still. So we haven't really done a kind of exploration of it. We haven't done any mapping. We're basically on the threshold here, but we do perceive these iron rings which are studding the wall, and they're sort of crumbling manacles, and almost like the rotted bodies, the bones of the prisoners, they're still shackled there. So it really is quite a grim thing. So I think the Crypt of Chains was doing some sort of detention centre. It seems to be its purpose. What we can do is, as we approach this threshold, and we are just up to 3 turns, I think I can try to invoke the Wandering Monster. So let's do a 1 in 6, and we will get a Wandering Monster. So 6, so we will not get a Wandering Monster until we have completed another 3 turns. So sigh of relief. So the characters, and I think I can actually try out my little. Let's try out the dialogue and see what happens. Give it a little bit of a test, a dry run. So dungeon dialogue table. As we come into the room, we get the D20. Let's roll there, and we get number 17. And number 17 is, oh, this is Fenna, and she says, "Cold as a grave and twice as welcoming." Yes, that sounds the sort of thing one of the characters would say. So remember, we get our little characters together. We've got Fenna, we've got Halmar, we've got Bartram, our cleric, he's Azure, and we have a Rowena who is in grey. So that is our marching order. If I do these ones in front and these 2 behind, that's how we would be coming into the room. And I could just use a little, I'll do a little blow up of the situation like we did last time, and just put these on here as we come in. So we're coming in about here, and we think, okay, so there is a door over on the far right, and what looks like an exit going in, which is either an alcove, or maybe it's a route to another door. We can't really discern that yet, so our torchlight isn't really reaching into this area yet. So I think what we want to do is really commence our mapping, and that's going to take us a 1 turn to map that. So let's do that. Anything else that I need to know about this room? I'll just check my little entry for room number 4. Okay, so on more serious examination of the walls and some of the manacles, we do see some scratch messages in an ancient tongue, and that's spelling out what we discern as pleas of mercy. So these must have been prisoners. They must have been doing that thing where, where they do the scratching on the wall. Mercy, mercy, what terrible sacrifices were they going to be facing? Some of them obviously just expired here. Who knows what happened to these catacombs and what happened to the cult? Maybe we will find out some more details. It seems like the villagers have lost the records of what exactly happened to this cult. Okay, so basically we've been able to map this. We will be able to discern what is down here, and what we see before us on the map is it is a door coming down an alcove. So like there's a door here about 5 feet in to like a mini corridor. So we have a choice. Are we going to go through this door here, or are we going to try to go through this door here? So let's just roll the dice. 1 to 3, it's the one ahead, and a 4 to 6, it's the one on the right. So we go ahead, and Fenna goes up first with Halmar, and let's just get that back on, and we're going up to this door here. The other characters have got the light, and Rowena's just completed all her mapping. Immediately Fenna realizes, oh, this is locked. I'm going to have to use my thief skills to try to unlock it. There seems to be a lot of locked doors in this. Do people want to keep things guarded and secret? They're doing a very fine job in the process. So are we going to use our thief skills? Are we going to try to pick the lock? I think we should do. I think we should give Fenna a chance to prove herself. She wasn't successful last time, Unfortunately, thieves are only quite limited in their ability in first level, but they have to learn somewhere, so let's give it a 25% chance she manages to pick the lock. Who knows, it's like a 1 in 4. 60, that is not. So she fails her attempt to try to pick the lock. And Harmer says, right, okay, am I just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way and give it a bit of a shoulder charge? I shall do this. I will use my brute strength and see if I can get it. And remember, a locked door is a 10-sided dice, so it is a 2 in 10 chance. And he fails. So we're not really going to keep on bashing away at locked doors for the time being. If we run out of options, and there are plenty of other options, we will come back. So we will leave that just now. I would still say that that's maybe taking maybe a couple of rounds, nothing more. We go back over to this door and we realize that this is an open door. Not an open door, but it's not a locked door. So we can use our strength of Halma and also any other character that wants to lend a hand. So let's use Halma and Fenna, and they can do, and the other 2 characters are just behind, waiting to assist them in any other operation once we get to the other side. So if we have this as Halma and we have the red dice as Fenna, Fenna needs a 1 and Halma needs a 1 and a 2. So Halma does the job. He manages to get the door open. He is proving his worth, proving his mettle. We open the door. So what is beyond the door? And I will tell you, beyond the door is, let me just see, there is a little corridor and it runs into what appears to be a room. So we run this down here. And is that going into this? That is the question. I'll do this across. And this will go as far as 50. So we're having a lot of regular size rooms, which is quite nice. So that's that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go 1 more here. I'll do 50 up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 50 across here. And in fact, just before we get to there, there is an actual, what appears to be a corridor leading out. And what we see there is an archway. So there's a little mini corridor going into this room. There is an archway just to our left, which seems to be leading into a passage. There is a mini corridor heading down towards the door, and according to once we do our mapping, we might be able to ascertain that it is connecting with this passage that we've already mapped, and then the rest of the room appears to be without any other form of exit. We get to use our chit deployment mechanism. So what I'll do is I'll give my chits a wee shake and then take out one of these. And I've got number 1 this time. So number 1 is the room that I'm going to look at. And this room, what the characters see as they progress, I can use this, I'll use a slightly different room, I think, just to give us a bit of variety. Use that one. So they're just entering in top left. Just coming in here. They see dozens of carved faces cover the walls, their mouths open as if in song. And the longer they're there, they see that they actually feel the air starting to move. And whenever the air does move, a low moaning hum starts to fill the chamber. This sound, it's starting to unsettle their nerves. Um, can our characters, can they work out if they can discern any words that are coming from these things? So we can do a wisdom check. Let us get all our characters and see who has got the most wisdom, who gets a wisdom bonus. Well, that's Bartram. And at the back of the Basic Fantasy book, there is an optional rule that you can use ability checks. And it is based on level. So ability rolls. And when you are level 1, the target that you have to get is 17. And you can add your whatever characteristic it is that you're trying to roll for. So let us say that would be 16 for Bartram to understand. So he doesn't. Rowena is a wisdom. She gets a +1. She uses a 16. So she does. So Rowena says, "Oh, I think I can work out what what this strange eerie moaning is." It really is starting to freak us out. But what we seem to be able to discern is that there are fragments of prayer to our forgotten God. Basically, the room is empty, but it is very, very eerie. I think it's probably worthwhile getting some form of dungeon dialogue based on this, the reaction. Are we going to have something fitting? And Halma says to Fenner, "Keep your hands off relics. They bite back in places like this." So that's a warning to you, Fenner. Just be careful what you're trying to pick up. So we go into the middle of this room. We start to do some mapping. And if we get our little reckoner out, we're now up to 5. So another one, we're going to have to actually do a rest now. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend the time, not very pleasant because of all this this humming and moaning and whatever. It really is very unpleasant, but needs must. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend another turn resting. So you have to rest every basically every 6 turns, one of them has to be a rest period. So after 5, we have a rest, and then we're up to 6. That also means that we have to roll for wandering monsters. So what are we going to get? If it's a 1 on a d6, we will have a wandering monster. So 3, and I've just knocked over some of my characters. We got a 3. That's the trouble with that. I'm going to have to get one of these small dice trays to roll my dice on. And also the fact I've just noticed with my chit deployment system, I don't have any spare shakers because I've used them all up. I'm going to have to maybe get a couple of mugs or something, and then I can get my shakers back on the go. I don't really like rolling it with my hands. It's just, for some reason, you feel like there's still a bit of bias when you roll it with your hand. Okay, so that is that. We've had 6 turns down the dungeon, which is 1 hour. We move on to, and the other thing that we have to note is that our lantern, our light source, is slightly variable in this. In Basic Fantasy, your lantern, your light. So we've got a lantern. If we had a normal torch, we do have normal torches which we could light, but there's a flask of oil in a lantern will burn for 1d6 plus 18 turns. So that is basically almost 4 hours if we get the full maximum. So we've used effectively a quarter. We're going to have to roll when we get approached to the 2nd to 3rd hour. What we'll do is we'll roll a d6 and see how many extra periods we have. That could be of more importance as we wind the clock down. We do have another flask of oil that we can fill it up with, so I can't really envisage us being down more than 8 hours, but who knows. And remember, with the adventurous pacts that we have some bundles of torches as well. So we're not really going to run out of a light source. Well, that is the hope. Potentially, if these torches get underwater or whatever. They might be useless. We might have to think of some other means of getting combustible material, but we have not encountered that yet. So let's see what we think we should be doing. One thing that we do work out is when we've done the mapping is that this locked door is the other side of this. So what we're going to do is we're just really going to leave this door locked for the time being. We can't really do anything with it. Certainly Fenna can't try to repick the lock. She's already tried once. So we go back into this room. The only real choice is for us to go through this arch, unless we want to retrace our steps and maybe try this door, or maybe Halma could give this a bit of a shove again. But we think the route of least resistance is to go through this archway. So that is what we decide to do in our second hour in the dungeon, and we proceed down this corridor. And what we'd see before us is it goes on 10 feet and then it takes a right-hand turn. So let's just map that one out. So we reach this point here. We look down this corridor. Our lantern illuminates a further 40 feet. And then it takes a left turn. So a lot of winding corridors. And the thing about going down a corridor is that, again, that we can activate our chit system. And I can get one of my corridor chits. And as we stand here, let's see exactly what is the story with our corridor. We get number 1 on the corridor. So number 1 on my little pile of stuff, the corridors. The Whispering Passage. So what number did I have for that one again? Was that number 1, wasn't it? Yeah. So that's number 1. I'll just take a note of that. And number 1 was originally, I had that down as the Stone Choir. I've called that room. And this is the Whispering Passage. So what we notice as we start to map down here, this passage, is that the walls are carved with worn reliefs of hooded figures, their faces eroded into blank ovals. A faint rustling seems to drift through the corridor. It seems to be like whispering just beyond hearing. Our lantern is flickering the light, and the shadows, they seem to stretch and bend as though leaning closer to listen. So that sounds really quite scary. This is the Whispering Passage. So yeah, another eerie thing. I think probably we'll do a bit of dialogue just to see whether that creates a bit of consternation with the characters. 16, and Harmus, who is listening, he says, "Hush, there, chains, far off, or am I dreaming?" I think you're dreaming, Harma. Well, we hope you are. There does seem to be a lot of clanking chains in this dungeon. I am not surprised that you managed to hear that, pick that up with your very, very astute ears. Right, so we approach this turn here and we take a left. What is beyond this turning? And what we see is the passage goes another 20 feet. And then it takes a left again, and it seems to double back. And we think, okay, so what is going on here? So if we're going to map this, this is going to take us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's another turn to get there. So we're into a turn in our second hour. What is down this passage? And what we see is this, and it takes a right turn. Okay, is this passage ever going to end? We seem to be going. And do you think this would be worthy of getting another passage? do you think this classifies? Because I think we've probably moved away from the whispering passage. Maybe we should do another one. We'll do something different. I think that's what we will do. We will select our passage. Just put my fingers in here, and what we're going to get, we get number 3. So number 3 is, okay, so right. So as we start to walk down here, down this passage, the floor lies under a shallow film of dark water, the ripples at the party's tread. Crumbling mosaics show scenes of kneeling worshippers before a crowned figure. Oh dear. Beneath the water, pale shapes shift in disconcerting patterns. Oh dear. So this is what we call the flooded gallery. Very grim. So I've only got one option left. I've got, I think, number 2 left to do. So we've had the whispering passage. We've had the flooded gallery. This is turning into quite a, quite a ride. I think this probably calls for a bit of consternation on the party. A bit of dungeon dialogue, and we get an 18. And Rowena says absently, when I was a child, they said the dead sleep. They lied. Absolutely stunning stuff, Rowena. You've really set the tone. That's something typically that Rowena would say, something really quite cryptic and quite frightening. She is probably, with her visage, the fact that she is just white with the kind of red crimson eyes, she really is a bit of a sight down here. But she is being quite morbid too. She'd be kind of like an Addams Family kind of dark humor. Okay, so we've done the flooded gallery. We approach here, so we are up to this point here, and that means that we have done 1 turn. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 to get here. And what is round this corner? And we see a passage go a further 20 feet. So 4, 5, 6 up to here, and it ends in a door. And Fenna and Halma approach. So we've done 6 rounds, so we've got another 4 to go before the turn. Although no, it doesn't work like that. I'm thinking Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We've basically done 60 feet of our 90-foot move allowance. So we've done 2/3 of basically 6 minutes really, 6 and a bit minutes. We are faced by a door. Fenna checks the door. She says, "Right, this one's not locked. It's over to you, Halma, with your strength. Do you want me to give you a bit of a hand?" And he said, "Yes, please." So this is going to be a 1 and a 2. So he needs a 1 and a 2, and she needs a 1. And we both fail. So we're putting a bit of effort in, but we're not really having very much success. So we say, shall we give it another go? I think so. And yes, Fenna, well done. She manages to push it. She's proving to be quite good on doors. I'm sure she did that another time. So we've done 60 feet up to here. We open the door. What is beyond the door? And beyond the door, we see a room. And this seems to be a bit of a smaller room. And it seems to be 30 feet by 30 feet. Just put that there. And down this wall here. And there appears to be a door here on this wall. So we're at the brink. We're at the brink of the room. What is the room going to be? What are we going to reveal? The room is using our chit system. And how many have we done? We've done 3, so we've still got 3 to go. So let's find out what, I'll do that so you can see that I'm reaching, and we get a number 3 this time. So what is number 3? Number 3 is, right, rows of skulls stare from alcoves. Dusty bones lie heaped in the centre, arranged into what appears to be very strange patterns. Okay, so that's what we see. We see these rows of skulls, and in the alcoves. So say there's the alcoves all the way around here. There's like skulls in them. So all the way around the perimeter of this. Rowena says, right, do you want me to start mapping this? And you guys can maybe, or you fellow adventurers, you wouldn't say guys, you fellow adventurers, you could investigate these cryptic patterns. They seem to be arranged in certain formations. Let us see if we can decipher them while I map this room. So she'll go away and map the room, and that'll take one turn to do that. In the meantime, the characters are looking at the, let's say, well, shall we investigate these things? And I would say they probably will do. And as they are standing, because this is basically almost heaped in the center, these kind of dusty bones, and they're almost in like little shapes. And as we step into the center, suddenly they start to swirl around their feet. And what we see transform before us is skeletal forms starting to build up from various bones, and skulls come from the alcoves, and we see like a leg bone, a shin bone, and an arm, and some ribs and whatever, and actual skeletal forms are forming before our eyes. And I've got a note here that I'm going to have. This is occupied by 1d4 skeletons that will be animated if we disturb this. So while Rowena is doing all her kind of mapping stuff, she's thinking, what have you done? What have you set off? And we have 1d4 skeletons that are going to appear and cause us some problems. So, oh, I've got the wrong dice. 1d4 skeletons. That is how many I need to do. We're going to have 2 skeletons that are going to appear. So let us just get this. In fact, we'll do a little trick every time we go into a new room. So this is 30 by 30. Let's just imagine that. We've got Rowena doing her mapping. She's going around the perimeter. Our other 3 characters are in the center, and suddenly before our eyes, skeleton 1 and skeleton 2. So we'll use these 2 white ones, suddenly materialize right in our midst. So I would say that it's not going to be a case of, potentially there will be some form of surprise, and because the characters are maybe just so stunned. So I will say on a 1 or a 2, the characters are surprised by these skeletons as they form. And if they're not surprised, they get a chance to strike the skeletons as they are forming, because they have not completely formed yet. So a 1 or a 2, the characters are surprised. So they are surprised. So the skeletons managed to form before our eyes. And that could be an issue. So we are into a combat situation with the skeletons. What we do now is that we actually just check initiative. And skeletons are, they are obviously undead, created by an evil magic user or cleric. They are armor class 13. So if I just make a note of this, they are AC 13. They are 1 hit dice. number of attacks, 1 weapon. So let's say that they're armed with swords. Yeah, they move 40. They are, yes, morale 12, so they will not, they are relentless, they won't stop. They never fail morale. Of course, we do have a cleric in our midst, so it could be quite important what is our initiative in the situation. So we have armor class 13, we have skeleton number 1, and we have skeleton number 2. And they are 1 hit dice each, so let's get our d8 out. That's a d10. Find where my d8 is. D8's gone walkabouts, so there we go. So the first skeleton is only 2 hit points, so maybe he's not fully materialized. Maybe there's something missing. And the second one is 7, so he looks as though he is the full business. He is a bit more meaner. I think I'm going to give them maybe a sword each, to see what is available. Our little list of stuff that we can have. So weapons, maybe I could give them something a bit more, like a battle axe. Yeah, battle axe might be quite good fun. One's got maybe a scimitar. Yeah, scimitar. Yes. Let them both have scimitars. 1d8. Yes, I think so. So they've both got scimitars. I like that. It's very adjacent on the Argonauts. Remember those skeletons that came out of the ground, and they do 1d8 and armor class 13. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll for initiative, and what I'll say is the 2 skeletons will be yellow and our characters will be red, and we'll roll the 2 skeletons first and I'll just assign them. So number 2 is the top one, so he's this, and number 2 is the bottom one here, he's 6. Let's do what is the characters. I'll just get the character sheet out so that we can just see them before us. So yes, so actually Fenna's going to be very good. She gets a +3 because of her dexterity of 18. Bartram is really bad, and he was the one that we probably want to do the turning of the undead, so he's -2. Rowena is nothing, and Halmar is nothing. So let's roll for Fenna first, and she gets +3. So 4 + 3 is, she's actually off the chart. She's 7. I can't do a 7, so I'll do a 6, and that's higher than that. So she can actually go before that skeleton. We've got Bartram, and he gets a -2, so he's going to be less than 1. So a minimum of 1, I would say, for Bartram. So he's going to be last. We've got Halmar, and Halmar's going to be 3 plus nothing, so Halmar goes on 3, and Rowena goes 2, so she goes 2. So if we just survey the field of battle, what we see is that Fenna can go first. So Fenna quickly, her brain is racing. She thinks very quickly on her feet, and she says, "Oh, right, I can see this animating skeleton right before me. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it an almighty whack with my short sword." And to attack with her short sword, she gets an attack bonus of 1 against armor class 13. She needs a 12 or more to hit. So let's do that. And I'm saying that they're so close that it's quite easy for them to move into combat range. So I'm not going to have any need to move characters. It's really just going to be a case of initiative countdown and how they attack. So this is 12 or more for Fenna to hit skeleton. Skeleton number 2, she misses. So skeleton number 2, is he going to go for Halmar, or is he going to go for Fenna, who did lunge against him? That is the question. So I would say there's more chance of him going for Fenna because she lunged at him. But let's go 1 to 4 is Fenna, 5 to 6 is Halma. So yeah, it's actually decided to go for Halma, and they have an attack bonus of +1, and +1 against his armor class is 14, so it needs a 13 to hit Halma. 17, it hits Halma, and a scimitar does 1d8. So is this looking a bit on the bad side for Halma? So he's got hit points of 7. 6 points of damage against Halma. So that's not good. So Halma, he goes down to -6 from 7, so he equals 1. He's got 1 hit point left. So he takes quite a grievous wound. He goes, oh, you got me. Next in the line is actually Halma is the next. So Halma has an attack bonus of 1 against armor class 13, so he needs a 12 or more to hit this skeleton. So is he going to do it? Come on, Halma, you need to do it. 17, good old Halma. He manages to get the skeleton. Now, the only downside is the edge weapons do half damage. So it's like D&D, that is the case. So edge weapons, and I think he's got a longsword, so he does 1d8 +1 because of his strength bonus. So he's going to do 1d8 +1 divided by 2. So that is 4, so it does 2 points of damage against that skeleton. So that skeleton is down to 5. Okay. Right. Who next? We've got an equal playoff between a Rowena, who's managed to get her... What has she got? She's got a silver dagger. She's also got a spell of shield. So should she cast shield? I think she will. Unless this one's going to go for Bartram. That is a possibility. So 1 to 3, it decides to go for Bartram. And it does. It's going to go for Bartram. So Rowena is kind of in two minds whether to cast a shield on herself or stab it with her silver dagger. So let's go for 1 to 4. It will be silver dagger time. And 5 to 6, she does shield. So she decides to cast shield. And if we just quickly check what shield's all about, so that we know under the spells. Yep, shield, magic user 1. The spell creates an invisible shield made of magical force, which floats in front of the caster, protecting them from various attacks. The spell totally blocks magic missile attacks and improves the caster's armor class by +3 versus melee attacks and +6 versus weapons. And it asks for 5 rounds +1 per level. So yes, so she casts shield on herself to protect herself. And she can't really do anything else because she's casting her spell. That leaves Bartram to try to do his defending against this skeleton who's going to try to attack him. And the skeleton gets attack bonus of 1 and his armor class is 12. So the skeleton needs 11 or more to hit Bartram. It gets a 20. Would you believe it? What are these skeletons like? The scimitar scythes through the air. Is it going to give a grievous blow to Bartram, who's only got 4 hit points? It does 1d8 points of damage against Bartram. What is going to happen here? This is quite severe. 8 points of damage against Bartram. So he goes down to -4. He falls. Bartram goes. Now I am going to use the so he does 8 points of damage, which is a -4 because he's got 4. And if we just look quickly at our optional rules, negative hit points, instead of stopping at 0 hit points, keep track of the current negative figure at the end of each round. After they fall, the character loses an additional hit point. If the total of -10 is reached, the character is dead. So I'm going to allow that. I'm going to say, yep, the character's going to go down. But Bartram is grievously wounded. He is out of action before he even got a chance to do his turning. He is gone. So that's not too clever. We go back to the next round of initiative. So I'll take the little dice away. Bartram no more for the time being. He is unconscious. We do know that Rowena's got this shield, so she's a bit more protected. So we're going to roll initiative again. So let's do the skeletons first and find out. So skeleton number 1, which is this first one here, he gets 3, and skeleton number 2 gets 5. Skeleton number 2 must have been an old warrior, I think. It's proving to be a very resilient character. Got him rolling about. Fenna, let's do Fenna. 4. She gets +3, so she is at least 6 plus. She's 7. Harmer gets 6. That's good. Harmer goes. And we've got Rowena. Rowena is 5. So all the characters are actually going first. However, we're in a bit of a pickle here with Rowena. If this skeleton just takes her on 1 against 1, we could have done with Bartram with a bit of support, but those are the breaks. So we've got Fenna to go first, and we said that Fenna has a +1 attack, so she needs 12 or more to hit this. She's using her short sword, so she hits with her short sword. She does 1d6 divided by 2, because remember it's an edged weapon. Good, so that rounds up. So that is 3 that she does. So that skeleton is down to 2. So she whacks it with her short sword. It maybe part of one of its limbs come off. It's down to 1 arm. It's still got its scimitar arm. That is the problem. We've got Harmer now, and he has a +1, and again he needs a 12 or more to hit. Will he do it? That is the question. 10, he misses. Oh dear, poor Harmer. We have this skeleton, loose. It's on the go, and the skeleton needs. Who's he going to go against? Is he going to go with Fenna? 1 to 3 Fenna, 4 to 6 Halmer. So he goes with Halmer, and Halmer's already down. He's only got 1 hit point left, so it's looking a wee bit dodgy. Let us roll here. This skeleton will need against armor class 14 for Halmer. It needs 13 or more, so it misses. The skeleton misses. Okay, so that's that combat out of the way. We'll have Rowena do her attack. And she needs a 12, because she has an attack bonus of 1. She gets an 18, so she hits with her silver dagger, and her silver dagger does 1d4. So it's going to be 1d4 divided by 2. So if I get my d4, come on Rowena, we could really do with a result. So that's 2 divided by 2. 1 point of damage. And this thing attacks her. She gets a -3. She gets a +3 added onto her armor class, and her armor class is 11. So +3, she counts as 14, and the skeleton gets attack bonus of 1. So it needs a 13 or more to hit. So is it going to even penetrate her shield? A 5, it misses. Okay, so we're to the next round of combat, and unfortunately Bartram, I would say he's got another point off, so he's down to -5. So we're really going to have to start relieving him, bind his wounds and whatever. That is not happening just now. So we'll do skeleton number 1, and skeleton number 1 gets a 3, and skeleton number 2 gets a 1. So at least that's good news. Fenna gets 3 plus 3 is 6. So she's doing good, and Halmer gets a 2, and Rowena gets a 6. So let us do Fenna first. Fenna needs a 12 or more to hit this skeleton. 11, she misses. Rowena needs a 12 or more to hit this skeleton. 17, she hits. She will kill it with her silver dagger. It disintegrates before her eyes. Yes. So Rowena strikes. None of the other more martial characters have managed to score a kill, but Rowena has done it. So that is good. We still have Halmer. Halmer, please, Halmer. 12 or more, you have to hit. 16, Halmer hits. Will he destroy it? Well, he does 1d8 plus 1. Surely he will destroy this skeleton. He gets a 5 plus 1. That's 6 divided by 2. 3. Yes. That is a very, very close combat. Those two animated skeletons. You know, imagine if there'd been more. There'd been 4 of them. My goodness, we would really been on the back foot. Okay, so well done. That is my first combat in Basic Fantasy. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I like this initiative thing and the counting down. Less of this talk. Less of this talk. We have a job to do. We must bind Bartram's wounds. So that is what we do. The skeleton is gone. The rest of the characters move over. I think I can see I've gone quite a bit over my usual time. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to decompose this bit of diagnostics on this combat and basically do a bit of a sweep up and just see how we're going to deal with Bartram in the next episode. Yeah, I'm a bit out of breath with all that fighting. Hopefully I did everything right. I can't really think of, basically the system isn't really that complicated. And unless I've really just been very stupid and missed something out that's fundamental, I don't think I've done anything completely obtuse in that. Hopefully I've done it the way that it should be done, with the initiative and the countdown and all that stuff, and the fact that there was no real kind of movement in that because we were really quite close, almost like not quite touching, but we were within melee range right at the start. Yeah. Okay, well, good. That will do us for just now, I think, and hopefully you want to come back and see how the characters progress in the next episode. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.